I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be.
Hey kid, what time is that?
It's time to refresh.
So, I put on this base metal event and it went alright. And then I had a guy reach out to me online, Chris Dynamite, do you know who that is? He used to run Destiny.
No, I don't ring the bell.
It was an event round here in Carlisle, and it was quite popular back in the day. It used to have some really good MCs on it. You'll love some of the recordings off them. There's some really good ones. And anyways, he messaged me saying, how do you feel about doing a versus night? So we'll do Destiny versus Base Mental. I was like, right, go on then. So what's your plan? He says, I've got this venue, the Attic in Carlisle. I was like, right, well, this is my chance to branch to Carlisle. I can do this. Then.
So was this a decent sort of brand at the time? But the
Destiny, it's more like a nostalgic act. It wasn't current at that time, but everyone was aware of what it was, and it was.
So
I think
they
it was
had a
trying
big
to come
following.
back. Yeah, it was good, and I don't know why he reached out to me or whatever, but he did. He's like, listen, can you get sort of five of your DJs and we'll sort of come through and do it. So
that's where you build up your following as well.
Yeah,
that's doing brilliant at the minute. Corruption Bounce.
They're
doing really well doing the versus nights, because what they're doing is they've got their own following, which is
Yeah.
growing massively. They're doing really well. To be fair.
Yeah, it makes them look really good when it's
But
round
then
there.
they're doing things like they did the Maxims one. I think they've done. I think they've had conversations with Farrell a few times.
Yeah.
And it's still in the process of working it out and stuff. And they've done a few sort of versus nights and stuff. And because of that, because they get on, I know they did the Elation one when I was on at Elation earlier this year, and you don't take their custom, but you add new fans, don't you?
Yeah, that's what a collaboration event is. It's a merger of the two styles.
And you just get your brand interfaces and ears that wouldn't usually see or hear what you're doing. So yeah.
So then I remember going through with Chris Rigg, and we went through and we're like, none of my end of the DJs turned up. It was just me and Chris. I was like, shit, what is going on? And try to get all the people, whatever. But then on his end, none of his DJs were turning up either. So I went in, and there was Drew Norman was playing. Julie, you might know him from going to Sank events and whatnot, but he was playing before me. And then I went on. Me and Chris were playing back to back. We ended up playing a few hours because there was no other DJs to play. There was a few and it was alright. It wasn't a bad night. Then Chris went on. Chris Dynamite went on and played his bit, and then it was getting late on. It wasn't like boom or all, and I was right. We'll just go. We'll finished, and that was that. But it was getting busier as we were going. So I was like, and he texted me back the day after saying he got real busy. The next one for coming, whatever. And then he reached out to me again. He says, this guy's got in touch with me, right? What I'm about to tell you right now is 100% the truth. I don't tell lies and nothing. I just want to make that clear. This is what happened. I'm not trying to paint anyone in a bad picture. I'm not trying to paint anyone in a good picture. What had happened was Chris messaged me and he says, I've got this night coming up. I'm calling it Indulgence.
Chris Dynamite?
Yeah, Chris Dynamite. I was like, oh yeah, I'll be involved with that, mate. So he put me on. DJ Brad Milburn going on. But it's versus Monroe's. I was like, right, okay, I know what Monroe's is. I've heard the tapes. I know this will be quite good for my reputation, this. And anyways, for whatever reason, it didn't. It ended up just being a Monroe's event. I think Chris had dropped out and it was just a Monroe's event. So this was Monroe's on tour in Carlisle. It ran by Lee. On the night, there was... I went through with a bunch of mates. It was a fucking really good laugh, and it was a good night. But Lee was there. There was Cheese. There was MCB.
I'd love him to come on this podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I will at some point, I think, definitely. Yeah. And we were there, and I played my set, and I loved it, because it was like, I'm playing bounce with people who are not...
Oh, so even though it sort of fell off, you still got to play for it?
Yeah,
brilliant, yeah.
So, but Lily said, right, so we agreed. I'm giving you figures at this point. I said 50 quid. 50 quid, that was fine. No worries, right, that's sound, mate. And he was like, right, well, I've got the doorman to pay and stuff like that. I'll pay you, but I'll put you on the next one as well. Right, okay, no worries. And the next one was in Morecambe at the C2, or Carlton it used to be called. And me and my mates drove down there, played there, and as well, I remember at the first one I was back to back with DJ Cheese, and I had MCB on my set, and I thought, MCB's on my set. What the fuck is this? This is amazing. Obviously, it's just fucking, it is what it is, isn't it? And I was like, this is me. It's me getting my foot in the door somewhere.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I was a bit hyped about it and whatnot, and I drove down to Morecambe. Never been to Morecambe in my life. I thought, what a weird place this is. You know what I mean? Get there, and then I went into this C2, and then there was loads of people who were just like me, hungry and wanting to get into it. So there was at the time there was Vinny T. Met Vinny T that night. Really nice guy. I had Martin Kavanagh, really really nice guy. MC Swifty, do you know him? Joe Swifty was there. There was a load of other up and comers, what you would call the deviation room at the time. They were on the deviation and that as well. And then I played my set, and a couple of lads come up to me and like, fucking hell, you played some gems there that I forgot about. For me, I'm always playing, like, it wasn't busy, by the way, it was completely dead. And he at the end of the set, Lily said to me, he said something before, it was a couple of days before the event. He says, can you lend me some money for whatever, for 100 quid for pay door staff or something? Like, it was towards door staff. I was fooled by this is my interpretation of it. This is what I think at the time I was fooled by, oh well, I might be able to get on Monroe's or whatever. If he lends me anything, he'll give me my wage and the money back.
Yeah,
when I get there,
and he'll sort of see that you've done him a favour.
Yeah. So he'll know I'm a decent person. So I lent him it, and I played the set in there, and then I couldn't find him the whole night. And then whatever has happened, and I just thought, I was fuming. My mates were like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is this about?" or whatever. And I went home, and then I genuinely thought, I'm gonna fuck all this bounce music off, whatever, because I just thought, this is what it is. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Like, I met some decent lads that night, like Vinny. Vinny's such a good lad. And as I said, there was Martin and that. There was a few others that you'll know. Ryder, Matty Ryder, he was there and all that. And he blocked me on Facebook and whatnot. I've never seen him since. Never seen him even now. And I just thought, what a fucking dick. But I'll let that go now. Like,
I'll just say, as the host of as today's host, I'll just say Lily's a cunt then.
Okay. But I'm just telling you what happened. I'm giving you the facts. You decide what you think.
It is a bad fucking...
So I just thought, I'll never work with you again and whatnot. And he was meant to DJ at my night, but he never DJ'd either. Because he said, what I'll do, he said, this is what had happened. He says, I'll play for you on one of your nights in town and I won't charge. And I was like, well, probably equals out a wage. Put a night on in Whitehaven. This is the TJ's era, so I put on a night, right, and I told everyone about it, and at this point it's not in Workington, it's in Whitehaven. Put on in Whitehaven. We rammed that club out all night, and I'm not joking, like, all my mates from school were there. I've still got like footage and that and pictures and that from it, because I was just amazed at how it was shoulder to shoulder rammed, and I was getting to play whatever I wanted. And it was meant to be me, Martin Kavanagh, Chris Rigg, and Lily obviously never turned up, and that was me. I just cut my ties. I just thought, I'm not even chasing that. It was a lesson learned. Never lend anyone in the scene.
It's not even a big amount, is it?
No.
It's not even like it's worth losing, not a friendship, but losing some of your reputation for that. It's not even it's 100 quid.
Yeah. I know this is probably going to get thrown in loads of WhatsApp groups now, but I'm just telling my story of coming up, and make of that what you will.
Yeah.
And then I thought, we've had a fucking belter event here, we'll put a summer one on. So then this is where it started to work for me. I was like, people were interested in coming to the events. There was a bit of hype. I booked Zuni and he come up, and it was another rammed event again. So on this one I had Zuni, and then I had the last lineup, which was Chris Rigg, Martin Kavanagh and myself. Then I added Park DJ, Darren Cherry, I had a lad called Brent Hood and Lewis P and Ryder came on for combination. They come and done a bit with us. That event went off. I thought the only way is up here. This is it. People are starting, like, they had people in the scene messaging me like, your night looks fucking really good. I wouldn't mind coming up, whatever. Yeah. So my name started sort of getting about outside of Cumbria,
circulating a little bit.
Yeah, and then I never done much other than my own events. It started becoming a monthly thing, and I was meeting more people. I was getting, so on one of the events I had so we had Zuni, then I had
See, the thing is as well, people like Zuni and other people that you've got on, because they're coming and they're rammed. Obviously Zuni was sanctuary for a bit as well. They're going down there, and you know what Farrell's like. He's always looking for, where's a good opportunity. And when people saying, fucking hell, I was up at Brad's event, out of banging. Your name's getting circulated then without you even realising it. Your name's doing the rounds, innit then? Yeah.
And then we did one, there was, I had Reflex, Jamie Cousins up here, Carl Hill came up. Just these people who were like, they were all up and comers at the time, and it's like, and they were all coming and they were loving it, and it was a good turnout, and I thought, go big or go home. So I tried to book a Spanish DJ. This is what happened. There's a lot of people who questioned this at the time. He's like, why have you booked this guy? What's the crack? So I'd got into production and that at this point as well. So I was producing all sorts of different bits. None of it was all right. I listen back to it now, it sounds shit, but at the time it was doing me good. It was like, oh, that's Brad who runs events and produces, and that's what it was. And then I booked this so the lineup for the second or second birthday it was DJ Taz he was signed to Mode Records by Gary Select's label. So I got in touch with Gary and he was like, I've got this DJ, he's good, he'll come and play a sort of Mode Records set. And I was like, right, no worries. And I paid out my own pocket for it, flights, everything. Picked him up from the airport down in Manchester, come back, drove him the next day back to Manchester, and I booked, at the time there was Luke Hudson who was just starting to come up, Shad Side becoming resident, Jamie Clements, and so we got going there, and it was a really good night. It was fucking rammed again. That TJ's era of Bass Mental was really good, and then that sort of off the back burner for a year. 2015 come along. Farrell got in touch with me and he said, I'm running an event in Carlisle, would you be interested in coming on doing it? I was like, yeah, no worries. At this point I'm running monthly events in Whitehaven, and every single one of them is just fucking banging. Like it was just ridiculous how easy it was to fill the place up. And I didn't think anything of it, and I thought, oh, it's probably like a room 2 booking, whatever. And the flyer comes out, and the flyer reads fucking Nick Skids, right, in fucking Carlisle. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And the lineup, it was John G, Farrell, Bonley, I think it was, me and Gary K. I'm thinking, I don't have no right to be on this lineup whatsoever, but it was fucking, I was like, wow. And then I ended up playing there, and then I did a couple of sanctuaries as well, and that in 2015, and so then
got your foot in the door.
Yeah, and then I did a couple of room 2s and stuff for it as well, and then it was sanctuaries, it was presents DBC at Club Domain. I went in and I was like, wow, I like this club. This is a good club.
Domain. I think Domain's my favourite club of all time.
Yeah,
I think just the feeling you got in there. I think it was just, I loved it. I've got majority of my best memories of on nights out stem from Domain, or certainly that era. But Domain was so good. I loved it.
And then, obviously, I ended up being DBC's babysitter that night because it was just in a mess. It was a mess. But I remember playing my set and in the room 2, and it wasn't busy, but it was all right. But the main room was bouncing, and I had a good night out and stuff like that. And then that turns out obviously in retrospect, I look back, that was the last Room 2 event that I ever did. And then back end of 2015, I get this message off a lad called Star Project in France, and he says,
Oh, is that when you went over there?
yeah,
Yeah.
I got this message saying, listen, my English isn't great, but my friend's seen you, when you're booking a place, seen your DJ, fucking really good style of what you were doing, and we want you to come and play our party over there. And I was like, right, okay, right, and I wasn't sure what this is one of the first times that people in the bounce scene were asking for me to go travel.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
How old was you at this point?
I don't know, 18, 18, maybe 19, 18. And I was like, yes. I forgot to mention that I used to play in Accrington a lot as well for I'd shout out to Billy, who used to run a thing called Unbeatable Bounce. That got my foot in the door. That's where I met a lot of people there as well. I met like Wilco, Lukey P, and Matthew Connor and Stu C and all that. I met all them lot in there, so that was another opening for me as well. I'm grateful for that. So then he reached out to me and says, can you do this? And then he was like, what we'll do is send me your details over, I'll book your flights and whatnot. And I didn't negotiate a wage, I didn't do anything, and I was like, yeah, no worries, I'll do it. I'm travelling on my own to France. I was like, I remember posting
Where in
at
France
the time.
was it again?
It was in Toulouse.
Toulouse, that's it. I remember you saying on the last pod,
Yeah. And I remember thinking, I have no right to be on this at all. Not like, I don't deserve this. I don't even play this style of music. It was maybe my style of mix. No, I don't know why I got booked. Or maybe you just felt inclined to mention my name. I don't know. A lot of people, I think, when it got released, were like, "Why the fuck's he on that? Like, why is he getting a broad bookings?" And from there, I went and played. Turned up. Got picked up at the airport. And honestly, one of the best events I've ever played. I got there. It was in a warehouse. I shared like a little villa thing. Like it was a villa. It was with Dirtex. Do you know? Dirtex. He's a mad fucker, right? As well. I would never book him, put it that way, because he's high maintenance. But he's alright. He's a decent guy. And anyways, we got fucking talking and whatnot, and he was just giving me loads of his music, I was giving him some of mine, and went there and played the event, and this was like a surreal moment, which even looking back now, it's still a bit surreal. I turned up there, and people had bootleg CDs of mine. I used to do a CD called Wired. It was like Wired Volume 2 or something, whatever. And there was these people with the Wired CDs, like bootleg copies of them, where it was like badly printed and it wasn't even in a line straight or like that. And it was like, this is class, this is really good. And I think they were giving them out on the door, like whatever. So that was a big thing for me. And I went on and I met Gary Select. The lineup was like Gary Select, Dirtex, Star Project, and like loads of others. And the night was banging all night. Like, it's so good. The video of the sets online, I played like a fairly decent set, I thought. And anyways, I networked with all these people. But whilst I was playing the whole time, there was these two lads, and they were just banging into what every mix I was doing. They were going off the nut. They were getting on each other's shoulders, going whoa and all this. I was loving it. Anyways, the only reason I've mentioned that was because they come into the story a bit later. I remember getting took out. This was in like it's a bit of a dodgy fucking. It was like an industrial estate, but they just turned this into a rave venue. So like when we came out the rave at 8 in the morning the next day, there was people like fucking working in the units next to us, like tilers and fucking. There was like fucking people drilling and shit like that. Anyways, during the night, this one of these lads took us outside. He goes, "I'll take you out with drinks and that if you want." Opened the boot of his car, and there was just loads of like JD and as much as you could fit in a boot, and it was all there. What do you want? I couldn't whatever. So I was drink for free that night. Had a bit of a sore the next day. And anyways, I came home, and then I was doing like odd bits and that for like random nights. I remember I played a couple of nights for some guy in Fleetwood. I can't remember the name of the event. I apologise. Or Dirty Beats, I think it was called. And then I was just meeting people and introducing myself. I was everything as well. Up until 2016, every single event I went to, I used to take hundreds of CDs with me. And just everyone needs to know who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm about. And then 2016 comes along. I started upping the game a bit with regards to what I was doing. Like, I was putting more money into the events. And it was getting bigger. So it went from these people who I was working with, and then the odd guest and stuff like that. During that time, we booked like a few decent DJs. But then the manager of the club come to me and said, I want to show you this upstairs. And it was the original the one I told you about before, the GL3. I went upstairs, it was like rotten. He says, this is getting done out. He says, this is, shout to Stu Gash as well. And he said to me, he's like, listen, I'm still like the manager, but do you want to do the events? We can, whenever it's open, we'll sort of sort stuff out. I was like, right, no worries, we'll do that. He goes, I want to go big on the first event. What would you recommend and stuff? And he was asking a few people at the poker night they used to do on a Thursday night, who would you want to see come? Anyways, this first night that we did, we opened it up March bank holiday weekend, and it was me, and at this point I took Todd under my wing, Todd Murphy, as a resident from a brand, and I just wanted him, because he was equally as passionate, you know what I mean? He was into it. I says, I'll just give him his opportunities, and then he can go and do off and do his own thing. That was the plan. And we booked Hixie, right? Hixie came up to Whitehaven, and the opening night, it was wall to wall rammed in GL3. Bear in mind, it's about 3 times the capacity of what TJ's was. So I'd never seen it this busy in town ever, and it was fucking banging. Hixie came on, and it was just unreal. Like, and I was playing bits of hardcore and that at that time. I was producing bits of hardcore as well. That's why it was kind of fitting for me for it to go on.
For him to be on as well, yeah.
Yeah, and then, as I say, playing the events and that. But then I got the phone call again of, oh no, it was a message. Sorry, I tell a lie. It was a message I got off Farrell saying, do you want to come and play Sank Blackpool? It's like, yeah. Flyer came out, I was in like room 2 again.
I don't know why he asked, because he knows the answer.
Yeah.
As soon as he had, like, even with me when he's like, do you fancy, I think it was the 18th birthday, do you want to, do you fancy, and I was like, what do you mean, do I fancy? Of course I do. I'm waiting for this call fucking like 10 years. Yeah,
that's what he does though, doesn't it? That's his thing. So then he's like, I'm putting this weekender on. You obviously know the Century Weekender that happened. He says, I'm doing this. Are you available the Saturday? Like, yeah, no worries. And then I got there, and I walk in, and Candy and Grundy's on in the courtyard with Wizard on, and I'm thinking, what a fucking time to be alive. Sun's shining, fucking Wizard's MC, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? It's madness.
So what year was this? Because I'm sure I went.
2016.
I'm sure I went to that.
Possibly.
I think it was. It wasn't Domain, was it?
Yeah, it was Domain.
Was it?
It was a courtyard Domain.
Yeah.
If you went to this, you'll know this crack. Who stole the ketamine? Do you know that story?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I nearly named him.
Don't say it. But there was a big thing of who stole the ketamine. That was one everyone was talking about it that weekend. Something to do with some raves in the scene, and won't get into that. But I turned up and I was like, Ralph Soto was on, and I was having a crack. Do you go to that night then? Yeah.
I went to it. Yeah.
Okay.
I weren't involved in the ketamine gate. I'd gone back to whichever hotel, and I was having my own. Indulging in my own stuff. But yeah, I just remember like afterwards
the big arguments on
I
Facebook
just thought,
and stuff.
Fucking scruffy cunts. It's not even like it was because it's ket. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not even like it's a drug worth arguing over. But yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, fucking hell.
That was the that weekend. So anyways, I turned up and I'm having a crack with Ralph Soto and a couple of the other lads. I've seen Zuni there, having a crack with Zuni, Candy and Grundy and whatnot. And then Farrell said something to me. I can't remember what he said. He said something, and I was like, "What the fuck? Yeah, go on then, or whatever." So he come up and he goes, "Are you ready for the big one?" Like, and I was like, "What do you mean? Yeah. He's going, you're going to go main arena. You want to do that? So he moved me from room 2 to main arena. I was like, fucking right, mate. Yeah. So I opened up the main arena with Keo. Keo just came into the scene at this point. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Seeing my name on the big fucking LED board, and I was like, wow, this is so good. I went down to expecting to play room 2, and I played main room. And then from there, I played main room ever since, yeah. So obviously all the sanctuaries that came along, I was on and off with it as well. Like sometimes he would book me, sometimes he wouldn't. But majority of the
he does
time,
that anyway, doesn't he? He's not stagnant with because he knows he can sort of handpick who he wants. I think that's what's kept Sanctuary as the dominant force for the last 20 years. Like it's because he's not just had the same mundane thing over and over again. He's had his loyal ones like John and that, but he's mixed it up really well. Which is why it's been the go-to place for 20 years. Like so.
Yeah. And then I played there, I was just like, wow, is this what it feels like? This is amazing, I get used to this. And then a lot of more people started noticing me and what I was about. And in the meantime, I was still running the events from GL3, who put some really, really good events on and got pulled Bonley out of fucking retirement at that point. He'd knocked it on the head for a bit.
Yeah.
So I got him to come and play a set. We got there was some really, really good names, got like some big house names and that as well who come to play. But then
he's far too good as well to be retired, isn't he, Bon?
Yeah, definitely.
He's one of them DJs as well that you just like. He's technically very, very good. Like a lot of the time when you just watch him, you're like, fucking hell, like yeah. So well done.
Go watch his bouncy box, by the way. It's just came out. It's really good. It's on Flexed, I think, it's on the Bouncy channel on YouTube. And then I booked a weekender as well. I did a bass mental weekender up in Cumbria, and Friday night was classics. Friday night was bounce. Saturday night was classics, and Sunday was Italian. So that was what we would do. So I had a big varied lineup, and the Friday night I put Finchy on. Finchy's first time in Whitehaven in years. And the place was absolutely rammed. Like I've talked about it on the pod before. Finchy came on and he did my set, and I've got the recording there. You can hear the atmosphere in the crowd. Everything he done, it was like, wow, this is good. It was that busy. As I say, you had to get escorted out the emergency exit because people were fucking mobbing him.
We had I think the first Let's Have It after lockdown, Finchy was on.
Yeah.
And I remember he was on before me because he had another gig, so he was on about 11 o'clock. It might have been earlier, it might have been the first one on because he had to get off another gig or whatever it was. I just remember watching him, and it was that loud in there because obviously it was the first night following 2 years of lockdown, but also it was like seeing him on there and everyone were that excited, and it's Finchy and everyone's like shouting along with it, like you could hardly hear him.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere in there was so good, and he just knows how to just dominate a crowd, doesn't he? Like he's fucking brilliant to watch. But then I was on after him, and I was like, fuck, like, why'd you have to be so fucking good?
Yeah.
Like, I wish you'd have just stuttered a few times or whatever. A bit of ring rust or something, but there was nothing. He was just flawless all the way through. I was like, oh my god.
I wasn't being rude there, by the way.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
That camera's gone mental. I've got the CCTV. You must pick up on them lights.
All right. But yeah, so like I said, I was on directly after him, and I was like, "Fuck, how do I do this?" But luckily, I was on with Martin with Nitro and the type of DJ that he is.
Oh, you can fill the floor easy.
Less is more.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything because the type of tracks that he plays. Luckily, because I go to BTID and all that anyway.
Sort of know what
you know how he's going to play, so I knew that all I had to do is just hype the crowd a little bit. So I didn't look terrible going on after Finchy because I had Martin to work with, and Martin just sort of had it all. But I remember as soon as I went on, there was an issue with the decks, so I can't remember what it was. And he was playing it; he had it at full volume, and I could order a drink from stood on stage just shouting like it weren't working properly for whatever reason. Then it all just kicked in really loud. And Martin was like, "Nice one, mate." He said, "You carried me there." And I thought, yeah. When someone like Nitro M says that to you, I was like, fucking, felt like I was like 8 feet tall. It was great. But yeah, it was good.
Class. He's a very good DJ. I really rate him.
But yeah, Finchy and on the Friday.
So Finchy on the Friday was absolutely it was unbelievable. I've never seen town as busy. Like, it was just everything just accumulated up until this pinnacle, I think, because it was the club's most popular point. It was my brand's most popular point.
Yeah.
And having Finchy there was just the cream and.
Did you play the Sankfest in the Lakes?
Yeah, well, I'll say we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So back end of 2016, I got the phone call from Spain saying it was them two young lads who I played for.
He said, shoulders.
Yeah, he says, "Can you come and play? I want you to come and play for this event." I was like, right, no worries. So we sorted that out, and I went and played over in Bilbao, and it was Club Anaconda. It was. It was decent. It was wild. But this for me, right? This is where I took a bit of a turning point, because I became Brad Riffresh, and it was because I thought I've put out bang average tunes, and I feel like I need to step it up a bit. Do you know what I mean? So this was just before the Sanctuary Weekender and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And what had happened was I sort of had like a refresh. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's where the refresh comes from.
I was going to ask how it come about.
Yeah, so the refresh thing came. I wanted to drop the name of the Brad Milburn because I think it's a shit name. I don't like my name anyways, right? But the main thing was work. Work was getting really intense. My daytime job, I was getting drug tested all the time. It's the nature of the job, and I don't think that they were that impressed with
having the name associated with their company and that.
So, because obviously everyone knows each other locally. This is what it is. They're like everyone's. Oh, you're the bounce DJ, and that you want to paint it with that brush, but it depends what light you want to look at it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Depends on how you see the genre, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I thought, right, I need to freshen this up. So I was Brad Refresh.
So you went to Spain as Brad Refresh.
Yeah. I went. When I started the refreshing, I thought I'm gonna have to just. I was getting sick of the harder music. Like I was people pleasing. That's what I was doing. I was like, if I'm playing over there, I need to play hard. And then people would know me as playing sort of a bit harder. And I was like, right, I need to bring back what I enjoy about it. And it's getting a bit out of control. I was people pleasing, like I say. I was wanting to play in front of crowds that much that I was changing what I was about.
Yeah, you lost your sort of identity in that.
Yeah.
Like.
So I started the Brad Refresh thing, and my tunes were a much.
How did you come about transitioning? Because obviously it's not, you don't just go right, by the way, I'm Brad Refresh now rather than Brad Mill, but like how did you...
I started like doing like a Refresh mix series, and that's how I sort of edged it in. And because I was the promoter up here, just changing the name on the flyer, people questioned it at first, and then it just became that's what it was. Like cool. That's and then now more people know me as Brad Refresh. That's what it is. It was just Refresh at first, but I hated getting called it. I don't like I like the name, but I don't want somebody who doesn't know me to go
Refresh.
So I added the Brad thing just so it humanises me a bit. I was just like, I know it sounds stupid, but when someone comes up to you and calls you Brad, it's like, yeah, that's my name. Like, you know what I mean? So then, obviously, with the name change and everything like that, it was like almost like a fresh start for me. So when I was putting tunes and stuff out, they were better quality, better standard. And then I went over to Spain and played there, and I thought to myself, this is it, I'm done with Spain. Like, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it, but I thought, this music's not for me. I was playing really like hard stuff, and it was boring. Like, I was, by the end of the set, I was like, I wasn't enticed.
See, I've never been proper into the Spanish, like...
It was hard bass and bumping, that's what it was, that's what I was playing. So then I just thought to myself, right, back to basics, put these mixes out. It was all vocally bits that I liked. I played my bits in my hard house and stuff. I wasn't allowed to play. I play a bit of Spanish hard dance and that as well. Do you like the style tunes? I played that in Spain, and guess what? It fell flat on its ass. I had to quickly mix it out into a hard bass tune. Like, it just didn't work. So anyways, I came back and I just thought I need a full rebrand of everything I'm about. Got in touch with Duffy to do a CD I said, we'll do this CD. Done this CD. That helped me a lot. I went down to Sopranos back to the old school Sopranos or something like that. It was in Whaley. Is it Whaley? It's called Rio's nightclub in Whaley. I went down there and I handed loads of CDs out because it had Duffy's name on. People would listen to it.
Yeah.
So that got my name out there massively as well. That helped a lot. Shout Duffy, really nice guy. And then his class as well. It's just his flow and everything's just class. And then as 2016 progressed, in 2017, we got the phone call of Farrell saying, "Listen, we're at Sanctuary up at GL3. Like, right, we'll do that then. We'll organise it. You come and have a look at the club and whatnot. Do one night, and then right, we'll do it. First one, lockout. He then come again and done Easter. That it wasn't a lockout, but it was. I mean, it was a lockout.
I can't remember which one I came to up here, but I was stupidly smashed. Like, been drinking all the way up here, all through the day, all through the night. I genuinely don't remember. I was because that was that period of about 2017-ish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I spent the majority of it steaming, like proper smashed. And I can't remember, but I remember like some lad was asking me what my name is, and I couldn't remember. I was that pissed, genuinely. I couldn't remember my name. I said it on that Sanctuary van like the first week. Like, I got that pissed, I couldn't remember my name. I was like, and in the end, he just ended up walking away because it took me that long to answer what my name was. He must have thought, fucking hell, what a proper reprobate. And then he sort of left me to it. But yeah, it was 11.
Was it Whitehaven? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then there was the other Sancfest in Wigan as well, which I was.
Oh no, this wasn't Sancfest. This was Sanctuary. It was just a Sanctuary event. Yeah. Oh right. Well, I know when this was then. We'll get onto that. And it showed there was a demand in the area, and then Finchy got in touch and he was like, that weekend it was alright, wasn't it? I was like, yeah. He's like, what about if we did a frequency event? I said, absolutely. You're going to have to try. So I've got up here, done a frequency.
Yeah, class.
Some of the best records I've heard. So I was back to back with Alex for the first before we opened. Got to know Alex a bit, Alex R. And then I played the first set, and then I went through to a festival. I played that set, and Alex went on after me. Then there was Greenie, John Neal.
Fucking hell.
So it was Master C and Finchy hosting the night as well. It was really good. One of the best live recordings I've ever heard. Unbelievable sweat on the stealing. It's it was heavy, like it was real good. And then Farrell got in touch again saying, "Do you want to do end of summer party, bank holiday Sunday?" I said, "Yep, no worries, we'll do that." Put that on. Busy night again.
So is this when you were still doing the events for this?
Yeah. I was just bringing brands in at this point, and then he said, "We're going to do this." It was a good lineup, and that it's where I met like Ben Rushing came, and there was John and all that, and this is where I started talking to John a little bit, and I don't even know if he remembers that. That was obviously like 2017. I don't really remember stuff, but I started getting to pally with John a bit, and then that night I had to play a warm up, and then I had to fuck off to a festival in Soulfest it's called, and I went and played hardcore there, and really enjoyed it. It was unbelievable actually. It's one of my favourite sets ever. Played that there, and what had happened was what was it? I drove through and like they wouldn't let me in. I was like, it was the artists thing. Go around the artist one. They wouldn't let me in. I said, I'm on the bill. That's my name there. Whatever. Right. Okay. So like they took me to the thing and I went and played. The guy on before me was playing this like dub music. It wasn't dubstep, but it was like the noises and I thought I'm gonna play hardcore. I booked to play hardcore. This isn't gonna go down well at all. So I went on, and honestly, it was rammed, and it was fucking full of these hippies, and it was unreal. Like, there's some videos of that online somewhere as well. And off the back of that, there was a girl in the crowd there, Al King from Dumfries, and she started booking me for her nights, and I was playing up there. So I was like Scotland. I was playing Blackpool. I was playing like I was starting to get around now, and I think this is where I think. Some people might still see me as an up and comer, but for me, this is where I broke through. I think this is where I can turn up here and play these places, and it's really, really good. We're back in 2 minutes, if that's okay.
Because there's been a lot of key points in there as well with regards to, you know, people like Cal, for example, that up and coming.
Yeah.
You've got to do the fucking circuits. You've got to go through the hardship to be able to then say, well, yeah, now I have broke through, and the reason why I'm on, you know, why I'm resident, reason why I'm travelling all over the place is not because I'm arse licking. It's because I've had to go through shit, and people have seen me go through shit and bounce back from it and carry on doing it, because that's what promoters want. That's what like the people want to see. Like, well, fucking hell, when the going gets tough, who gets going? Whose arse falls out and who thinks, right, rolls the sleeves up and right, let's go at it. And I think that's what
I'm leaving this in, by the way. The podcast is just rolling out.
I think
sorry, there was a bit of technical issue. My phone was going mental. It was the camera in the house that was going mental. I thought it was something in here. Where did we finish up there?
so. You was decided you got back from Spain and everything. You've done all
that was what it was.
the
So
frequency and all that had been up, and then Farrell had just made you resident.
no, I wasn't resident. No.
Oh no,
No.
it was this
The
just before the
Sanctuary
Sanctuary Fest. Yeah.
Right. So what had happened at this point in the beginning of 2017? It was back into 2016. A lot of my residents team had a big falling out over something, and I thought, oh, this is what's going on
For your night up here?
Yeah, for my night up here. I was like, what's going on? And I went to a night in. I'd rather not say because it paints them in a bad picture. But
You went to a night.
I went to a
Just leave
night.
it at that, yeah.
Yeah, I went to a night, and someone said to me like, "Fucking." We had a talk, and I was talking to them, and it left me with a sour taste in my mouth about the whole scene.
Yeah.
And I thought, do you know what? Why am I putting my energy into this? So I started writing hardcore. I was still getting bounce bookings. Don't get me wrong, but I was putting out hardcore music in a childish huff. At this point, this literally was just me being childish. Of like
Just a dummy out type of thing.
yeah, because I thought if no one's appreciating what I'm doing, why do I bother?
Yeah.
And for the whole of 2017, the majority of my bookings was hardcore, and all my music was hardcore, and the majority of the bookings was hardcore. So I was still playing for Sank. I was still playing for in the club, but I was playing bounce into hardcore. I was playing club classics into classic bonker style hardcore.
Yeah.
So I was transitioning for that year, and I had moderate success in hardcore. This 2017 was a big crossroads for me. This is why I remember getting a bit confused or flustered with it, because I was writing a lot of hard house at the time, so I thought maybe hard house is the avenue. I got in the studio with Digital Mafia, and we did a couple of tunes together, and yeah, from there I was like, well, what should I do? Well, like, I got accepted straight away into the hardcore scene. Because I was getting booked down in Birmingham for a bounce event called Bounce Essential, and it was just basically my style, what I enjoyed, but they just ramped. It's like Donny Warehouse, so just ramped the BPM up just that little bit. So I was playing like 155 bounce in Birmingham quite regularly, but it was like the stuff I like. So as long as I wasn't fussed, I kind of just. But while I was down there, I got friendly with one of the guys there who runs Universal Hardcore, and he started booking me on his nights. So this is where I met the likes of like Stu Allen, Vibes, Rob IYF, all these lads, and I got friendly with, say, Stu Allen. Like he's like another Keith Capstick. He was a life and soul of the party, and we got chatting, and he gave me a lot of time of day, and he watched my set, and I was just like, this is it. So we used to just chat now and again, and then I was getting booked quite regular down there. I was going down there probably every other month, as well as still doing GL3. I was getting booked over in York quite a bit, playing over there, and then it was the odd dribs and drabs of like bounce stuff, like odd these like one-off bounce nights coming up, and I would get booked for this, I get booked for that, and then I went on my stag do to Magaluf, and I was like, I found myself just listening to bounce the whole time. I was like, I still love bounce music, and and at that time I was on my stag do. I thought I need to grow up and just fucking accept it. Like, if people are ungrateful for what I do in the bounce scene, that's their fault.
Yeah.
And I just thought, right, I'll do this. So I got married in that. I went away to Hong Kong. I hadn't even told you. I was DJing in Hong Kong in 2014 as well. I forgot about that. Yeah. I played over there. That was fun. I was sort of. Phil Goodall, who's been on the podcast, he I've talked about this on the podcast before, but he messaged me. I've tried to tell you my whole story, but there's all these different things going on.
It's too long, isn't it? But
yeah, but he contacted me when he seen I was out in Hong Kong, saying, "Oh, I didn't know you were out there, mate." I said, "I go every year, go with my missus, see family and that." He's like, "I put you in touch with this guy, go and play you." And I ended up playing bounce music in Hong Kong to people, but it wasn't bounce, it was classics. It was like Scouse. I was playing stuff like Your Man There, and I was playing like it was like all like it was
how did
good.
it go down?
At first, I thought it was going to go down like a lead balloon, but there were dancers and stuff like that, and there was like I remember going. There was like Jamaicans here. There was like your Chinese culture here. There was your expats, your white guys, and then all spread out all over the thing, and they were all loving it. And they're like, and I remember the Jamaicans come up to me at the end of the gig and said to me like, "What's this stuff here? What's this music? I've never heard it." It's like, "Oh mate, this is 20 years old, this stuff." I said, and he was like, "Where can I get it?" And I just give him all my CDs he had. I just give him them. I just said, "There you go, have them." Because I only burnt them while I went to the market, because like I wasn't expecting to go on DJ. So I went to go to the market and I had to download stuff that I had offline. So yeah, that was an experience as well. So yeah, what part did I get up to there? 2018. Oh no! Oh yeah, back in 2017.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll give this bounce thing a proper go. So then at this point, I think Farrell's seen that I was more doing the hardcore stuff. Whether he paid attention to that or what, I don't know. But I stopped getting the sank bookings. 2018 came round, and he was at this point. The GL3 thing, I'd sort of put it on the back burner to focus on other things. I was still going to bounce nights and stuff like that, and whatnot. But then he was on at 32 instead in Workington. So done that, went there, and I thought I'm gonna have to just go back to basics here. Like, he didn't put me on anymore, so I just went. I had a bit of the tiz coming out of me again, but basically I made a warm up CD, I made a peak hour CD, and I made a Sank Anthem CD.
Yeah.
And I had 3 CDs, and I went to him and I says, "Listen mate, I know I haven't been on a while. There's demos," and he was like, "Cheers, I appreciate it." Whether he listened to them or not, I don't know. And then a couple of months go by, then he books me again, and then this is me like sort of getting back into the door again of thing. I'm writing bounce music. I'm getting into the swing of things. People are supporting my tunes. I wasn't getting the bounce bookings or such at first. But people were playing the tunes out. Like Bon was playing my tunes. There was a few anyways, but I remember Bon coming up to Workington there and playing one or two of my tunes. I was like, yes, acceptance. That's what I'm after. So then he contacts me and says, "Can you play the Halloween gig 2018?" I was like, right, no worries. Turned up. I was on after John Neal. Came in. Jordan was on. I'm sure Alex R was there as well for whatever reason. I think he come with John for the crack, so I was having a crack with them lot. And then I got pally with John, and then they were like, "Right, we're doing this Sankfest thing." This was another thing, Sankfest. He's like, I got put on at the after party at the first Sankfest, and Easy and Jonesy were on my set, and honestly I just thought, why did I fuck bounce off? I love it. Like why did I go in this childish mood for a year for no reason?
It's good to see Jonesy getting the recognition he deserves now as well.
Exactly.
He started he's on Zombie, he's on a few big things. It's good to see that he's not being sort of palmed off in the room twos. And
He's talented, isn't he?
He sent me a thing the other day, a voice note of some of the stuff he's been working on. I'll play it to you after this.
He's good.
Really, he's play on words is so fucking good. The way
Yeah.
that he delivers it and that. But yeah, it's good to see him getting, like I say, the recognition that he deserves, because he's been there and thereabouts for
years. Yeah,
for-
he's been on here and told his story. Like,
yeah,
he's been
and
around.
it's really good to see
Nice
him
lad
now
as well.
getting the big
Yeah.
the big recognition.
And then the Sangfest came along and he says, "Can you play? I know you're not really doing the bounce, but can you do the after parties and that?" So I did the after party and I really loved it. And it was good. It was the Electric Soup in there, and then I was at Sangfest for the day. I just thought, "Oh, this is class. I like this. This is really good." And then obviously played the Halloween one for him. And then back end of 2018, played New Year's Eve Club Domain. I was like, yes, get in there. So 2018 going into 2019 it was. Just making sure that's right. I apologise, Farrell, if it's wrong. But he said to me, we're leaving Domain. This is the last one. I played the closing set and knocked the decks off in Domain for the last time. It was such a surreal feeling. It was good. It was real good.
Knowing that no one else is going to play there after you.
Yeah. And that was one of my.
I did like Domain.
Yeah, I did.
I really like that club.
Yeah.
Especially in summer when the courtyard bit was open
yeah.
and that as well.
Unreal.
Really, really good.
And then from there, I was getting back onto the Sanctuaries regular, go down and play whatever. So then 2019 came along, I was still throwing my parties up here now and again, do you know, just to simmering. And then still getting hardcore bookings off the back end of the stuff I was putting out. I got a release on, like, this is a massive achievement for me. It's a massive achievement. When I was growing up, I was listening to these CDs. I got a release on Hardcore Heaven, like the CD.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
for me that's a big thing. And then in the back end of 2017 again, I got a release on Tidy Tracks. Like they put one of my tracks on their album, and I was just like, wow, this is unreal. So I could have pursued both avenues and went that way, but I thought I'll just stick to bounce because I love it. Do you know what I mean? Like
you follow you follow your heart and you follow your gut.
Yeah. I think I could have had some more moderate success in some other avenues, but I feel like this is where I belong, sort of thing. So then, so that came around. He's like, right, we're doing the festival again. When are you going to go? But your main stage is this time. You're not the after party. I was like, get in there. So went on, played the set. A lot of people enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I started playing like tunes. Like I'm more confident to play my own tunes rather than people's, and I was getting good reactions off them. And then after that, he said, right, I'm gonna do Sankfest Halloween edition. Alright, no worries. Anyways, the weather went a bit shit, and we had to move it to Chasers in Workington. Anyways, this is where I got chatting with John, and we're having a crack. And we stood and talked for about 2 hours, just about tunes and it was then I realised he's on my wavelength. Like his style and my style is a good combination. I never thought anything. Didn't ever think we were ever going to do anything together, and that was that. And then played more Sanks. Played Bounceland. That was one of my favourite gigs ever as well. Sanctuary Bounceland. They did in Home and HQ. Did you ever go there? That was one for the memory book. That was really good.
I don't think I went to HQ. Don't know.
It was good. It was decent. Played there, and then that's when
remember. I probably did.
that's when I started getting sort of mates with Ben, because Ben was on after me. He'd fully returned with Bad, and that was what it was. He was sort of getting his stuff out there. I was getting my stuff out there. Off to it was a good year, 2019, where it was a return. When I started playing. I was playing in Burnley, Blackburn, all different places. I've still never played in Wigan. Never ever played in Wigan in my life.
Not?
Considering it's the hub of bounce, I've never ever played there. That's a interesting one.
I love Pure. Pure's like my favourite club.
I like Pure. Never played there either. Never even played like Room 2 or anything. Just I don't know what the situation is, but I've just never been asked. And then from there, it was a chat with John, send him tunes, and that now again, feedback. He was always honest feedback. Pete Monsoon and John G were the ones where, like, they would be like, this works, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I got to play with Pete recently.
He's good,
I was
isn't he?
over the moon.
He's very good.
I was over the moon with
He
it.
supports a lot of my music, and I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for that. So then, I had 2019 best year ever, playing everywhere, doing whatever, and 2020 hit, and it was looking like a good year. It was gonna be fucking.
Yeah.
This was my year. Obviously, the pandemic happened. I got stuck in Poland for 2 weeks. During when the lockdown. I've told the story on the podcast before, but I'll scuttle over that. But like basically, tried to get home and they stopped all international flights to Poland. When we got there, we went to the British Embassy to say, listen, for advice? It's fine. Everything. There's no restrictions. Nothing in place. This is when COVID was just sort of in China. Next minute, we got stuck there for 2 weeks. We're on the Polish news and the Scottish news as well because I took my little ladder or whatever. So then, during that time, I was doing bits and bobs for Sank. Like I was making some jingles and stuff for their adverts. This is where it started, and then I done like a Zone one as well, where it was jingles for Zone, and then over 2020, 21, I was just doing stuff to stay relevant. So I was putting music production stuff out. I was putting mixes, live streams, and I was just like, how can I stay relevant to this? And so I was just doing what I kind of done, like a little mix series and whatnot. 2021 came along. Farrell said, can you do the first one back? First one back, I opened up. Oh no, sorry, My Data opened up, and I was on after My Data. Played a set in Flamingos, really good. Also 2019, I also done Pier on the Pier 2019. That was really good. I enjoyed that.
I think I missed that one. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was a big high. He messaged
I've done
me
everyone and missed that, and then yeah.
That was one of my highlights as well. Like I put a video up of my set as well. Like one tune, and I did a bootleg of, do you know, can I have 12 bottles of bleach, please?
Yeah.
So I done that on the drop, and can I have 12 bottles of bleach, please? And it kicked in. The video done like 250,000 views. I was like, wow. Like just for the comedy value in it. So I done all right there. And then like coming back, it was a bit. Since it came back, it took like a little bit to find what everyone's rhythm was and find the feet. And 2021, I played a fair few different gigs here and there. I never did any of them sit down gigs. I refused all of them just because I can't sit down. If you go to a rave, it's not about that for me.
No,
I didn't do any of them sort of sit down raves. I was bang into comedy at the time, like we'll stop now, but I was going to like sit down comedy gigs instead.
Yeah.
I don't mind that because you sit down anyways. But
no, you don't go to a rave to sit down.
Yeah. So then 2022 came along.
That's such a funny joke then, but I cannot say it. I'll have to say it.
Yeah. 2022 came along. I played various sets 2022. I had a really good year. I was playing for the girl up in Edinburgh, playing regularly, playing Sanctuary, playing Cumbria.
Yeah.
And this is where 2022 was the year I found myself. It sounds stupid saying it, but I found a pattern in where I could do things, and I thought I'll start doing this podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast because I watched Joe Rogan. That was the biggest inspiration. I used to listen to Joe Rogan back in the really early episodes.
Yeah.
And people were like, why do you want to listen to a conversation? And I was like, just you don't understand it.
I always like the Joe Rogan and James English.
Yeah, James English podcast as well.
Really good. My dad got me onto them, but they're more like sort of gangster type.
Yeah. Well, James English for me, right, was like, I can do this because he's just this guy.
Yeah.
He's from Scotland, and he just takes a portable setup with him wherever he goes, and just basically this.
Just has a chat with people, yeah.
And anyways, so far I'm going to do the podcast. I'll put a good few tunes out with a good bit of recognition.
Did you have any, when you were setting the podcast up, did you have anything in like sort of in mind, or did you have like a long-term goal with it, or was it a case of you just sort of using it to know everyone, or
no, my long-term goal with this is, and I've said it before, this is just to document our scene. I was getting a bit pissed off when I would listen to other people talk. I remember listening to an Alternate podcast, DJ Alternate, and he was talking on it, and I thought, why is it like the London scene always gets so much BBC documentaries and shit, but like, everyone forgets. The only thing that people know in the rave scene about here was the Hacienda, like that's properly documented. So I started doing this, and I thought,
the old Wigan Pier, like the
Yeah, Wigan Casino type
Yeah,
thing. Yeah. So it's like all that, and I just thought, this is my way of documenting it. It's got this is my selfless project. Everything I've ever done otherwise, production,
been
mixes,
for you.
it's been for me. This is something where I'm like, I'm doing this, and if I go away in 10, my long term goal is I want to do everyone's story. Where if somebody wants to make a documentary about the bounce scene, all they need to do is just listen to these podcasts.
Go on YouTube or Spotify or whatever it is,
and you
it's
can
all
find
there.
everything
Yeah,
out. That's my objective, but the way I was wanting to do it was I wanted to do Cumbria and I want to do the bounce scene because this is me, this is what I'm about.
Yeah.
And selfishly, there was no one doing what I was wanting to do. I wanted to know people's stories. I like talking music. Obviously, you've talked to me for a long time.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then I thought I was well known for bounce and for music and stuff like that. But when this went from video episode 7 up until where we are now, this
75?
is 75. This episode I think is right. I've never experienced this type of people knowing who you are.
Yeah.
I've since about episode 35 ish, say 35. I've never went to we go shopping every Sunday. I go
I'd
shopping
say
every
33.
Sunday. 33. We'll say that then.
Because that was mine.
Yeah, so say 33, whatever, right? I've never once went to the shop and people stopping me to talk to me and stuff like that. It's not maybe necessarily something I want all the time because, like, my missus has to go and do the full shop on her own because when we're going talk
Some
to people,
days you just can't be bothered, can you? As much as it's good getting to know people, some days you do just want to get what you need to get done.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean.
Yeah. And then obviously I've had some guests on who I've really wanted on and I've really wanted to like get to know on a more personal level. Obviously met you through this properly. Like I knew who you were beforehand, but met you properly through this. Few people. I'm friends with Cal through this. So like I vaguely talked to him beforehand, but now I talk to him all the time. And yeah, so since this has been, it hasn't opened many doors for me, I'll be honest. We're coming to 2023.
To be fair, you didn't need many opening either, because obviously as we sort of circle back to the beginning where we say about you put in the work at the beginning anyway, and the doors were sort of opened from setting up a night, having a full thing, turning up to 3 people and going through the hardships and everything, as like I said before, the trenches and all that, but the doors were opened through persistence and everything. So like you said, with this, it's going to open doors, but not in the sort of musical way. It's going to open doors in terms of you meeting people and sort of getting more enlightened with other people with regards to that, rather than sort of it having an impact on your DJing or your producing or anything like that.
That's it. That's literally what it is. It's just for me.
But for anyone wanting to know where his music is available at, it's at.
Oh God! It's at my music. You can find it on Spotify. Brad Riffresh. We'll get into the manic thing now as well. So I started doing the podcast, and I kept my DJ and my producer separate to the podcast. It's never really favoured me. The only time that, I'll be honest with you, it favoured me, but in the end it didn't favour me, was I'd done the podcast with Ian Van Dahl. Yeah. And the guy who runs Clubland messaged me saying, "You with Ian now?" I was like, "Yeah." He says, "Can you do warm-up? We don't have a warm-up DJ." I was like, "Fucking right, I'll do that." Right.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, cancel that, he's turned up." So I almost had a door opened and I never. So there you go.
What a bastard.
No, but
I mean the situation, not the person.
Yeah. But yeah, that's essentially what had happened. But that's the only sort of what you would call, is it nepotism? Is that class of nepotism? The only
potential opportunity
opportunity I've ever had off the back of the podcast was that, and it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
So I never really got anything off the back of it. Anyways, I went to America. Just Christmas just gone.
Yeah.
First time I went to America. I've never experienced anything like it. It was unreal. But I was sitting in Denny's one morning, right, and we were all having a thing, and I got this big long message off Farrell saying, "Listen, would you be interested in a residency for Sanctuary?" I was like, "Fucking get in there, it's happened."
Yeah.
Like it's happened, and that's it. And at this point, just before Christmas, I was talking to John about doing Manic. I'm not going to go too much into the Manic story if that's alright, because I think that's for
when John's on.
Well, John needs to tell that as well. It's not my story to tell. It's both of ours.
See,
So
then for me, you need something like you and John doing a pod and just basically just talking about.
John, me and John doing a pod, but won't come on.
So you and John doing a pod.
Yeah, and that's when we'll get into it. We'll get into his story, and then we'll cross our paths and do it. Because I feel like it's a bit unfair because I don't know what it was like for his end.
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Where you.
But for me, we had a mutual like for it, and he was like, "What about this for an idea?" And then we were like, do it together. And then this year, my main focus, you won't have seen a Brad Riffresh tune this year. You won't have seen Brad Riffresh mixes, I don't think. Possibly, I don't think I've done one. It's all about the Manic thing. I've got the podcast and I've got Manic, and for me, that's what it's about. I've got my Sank residency, but it's basically Manic sets anyways, because me and John are there for each other's sets, and we're playing Manic stuff, we're playing other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I'm in a very happy place at the minute, and probably this is my story up until now. That's it. I probably missed stuff out, and I apologise, but you probably picked it off other podcasts.
Yeah, it's so easy to forget things as well, mate. So coming up, what have you got in terms of bookings?
Right, can I put this? I'm going to put these out. I've got Manic and Friends.
Can I put this out? It's your pod.
Yeah, no, because it's not. No, these events aren't my events. I've got Manic and Friends coming up on the 4th of November. I've got Sanctuary on the 21st of October, the Halloween with Antidote in association with Antidote Bonanza.
That looks good that night as well.
New Year's Eve Sanctuary. I've got the 24th of November, I'm doing under 18s gig for We Are Bounce. That's Lee T and Fitzy and Ross. They come up to Whitehaven to do that. On the 9th of December, I'm in Carlisle for a new night called Revived. I think it's called Revived, and that's Chris Dynamite. So it's come full circle again. I'm playing for Chris again. What else have I got coming up? I think I've got a baby due on Christmas Day, so I don't know what I'm doing. Other than that, podcast every week at It's Time to Refresh. I feel like I'm plugging into my own podcast here, but that's what it is.
You should be doing as well, though, to be fair.
Have you found that, mate? Alright, was that alright?
Really good.
Any questions for me?
To be fair, if you've seen me keep going on my phone, it's not because I'm being rude, it's because I had a lot of things that I wanted to tick off.
Is there anything we've not ticked off?
One thing, right, so short term, mid term, long term, where do you see?
Where do you see myself?
In terms of not just this, the music. Obviously, I know you've got your Manic thing with John. Fingers crossed that takes off and everything.
Yeah.
The pod, and
5 years.
obviously you're gonna have a big distraction Christmas. Yeah. So, but yeah, where do you so let's say in 5 years as the long term, where do you sort of see it in terms of this?
I'm a visualizer. I try and visualize everything. 5 years time, I will still be. Nothing will be different with this podcast. This is what I plan on doing. I just meet obviously with more guests, and we'll be on episode a couple of hundred by then. Yeah. But this will be probably going for as long as I'm involved in Bounce. I think as long as I'm involved in the scene. There's that. In 5 years' time, from what I would like, I think that me and John will be top of the scene with Manic, and I'm not just saying it because like it sounds like.
I think given both of your musical knowledge and passion, I'd be shocked if you're not.
I would like to. Yeah. There's a couple of things I'd like to tick off the list. I set goals for this year. I've already smashed the goals out with the podcast. That was basically just keep consistent, get X, Y, and Z. I've had X, Y, and Z on. Obviously, I'll reveal that at the end of the year because I've put it out. Got my Sank residency. I didn't. That wasn't a goal, but it was regular work for Sank. But it was regular work for Sank. I've always wanted that. I wanted to play Pure this year. I think. Well, not Pure. It doesn't need to be Pure, but I wanted to play Wigan. I've never played Wigan to a Wigan crowd. I just want to see if my stuff works there. I've had people play my tunes, but I just want to know if my stuff.
You playing your own, yeah.
That might not get ticked off, but it is what it is, isn't it? There's nothing you can do about that.
Is there not a sanctuary in Wigan?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh no, sorry, no. Yeah, it's the other one, isn't it?
And then from there that production wise, I just wanted to get Manic off the ground. That was the aim, and I think we've got that. We've done a headliner Sank event, and we've had a good few releases on various labels. We've had a million views on one of our tracks. I'm quite happy with that.
Brilliant, yeah.
And other than that, no, there's I
think there should be, because we're approaching it quite fast now. There should be some sort of vote from the Patreon and whoever else watches, whether it's just YouTube or whatever. There should be some sort of big vote on. If you do 100 versions of anything, it's always a big one.
Yeah.
Have some sort of thing for that, for the who do you want to be the 100th person, and obviously it's got to be realistic. But yeah, I think it'll be.
I think you'd be surprised who's been connected to this podcast, mate.
Yeah.
Since certain guests have come on, there's been people reach out and say, "Listen, whenever I'm by, I would love to do it."
Yeah,
and
that's good.
And that's it. But yeah, that's all for today, folks.
I'll keep tweeting Joe Rogan and get him down.
Can't get him off his fucking.
I think there's only so much that you can message someone about it being classed as harassment.
Yeah. So for me, I think that there's no impossible with this.
Yeah, definitely.
If I manifest this enough, I think I could get anybody on this podcast.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's just you've just got to work towards it, and I believe that in everything as well. Like if I want to be the fucking Manic is regarded as one of the best.
I think the key to it is consistency. You know,
it's a cumulative build-up, isn't it?
Yeah. Once people see that you've been doing it you've got 100 episodes in the bag, you've got 150, you've got 200, and people are like, oh, it's actually something. It's not, and when they see the views,
it's not fly by night.
Are increasing as well. Yeah, so it's not like a flash in the pan. I've had this idea and then I'm going to sack it off. And I think that's no matter what you do, it's about consistency. Whether it's putting mixes out, putting tunes out, putting podcasts out. Eventually, you do see the rewards from it. I mean, I put a load of mixes out during lockdown, again to stay relevant and keep myself, because I was just on the verge of like having a really big 2020, and then lockdown coming. I was like, why now? Can people not die?
That was me.
Yeah, can people not die of this like some other time? Like I just got Farrell like on board, and he was like, yeah, okay. Because I think previous to that, he'd sort of he thought I was a bit of an idiot, and then he'd seen that I was actually all right. Keogh was like just speaking to me about Let's Have It, and Martin had mentioned BTID and stuff like that, and then fucking pandemic coming. I was like, why now? Like, why of all times? Just as things were just starting to take off, and then it was a case of, if we're locked down, I thought it was going to be 6 months. If we're locked down for 6 months, people are going to change their ideas. They're going to change their approaches and everything like that. So I've got to stay relevant. So it's what I did, and luckily, it sort of paid dividends, and I managed to sort of get my name out there and that. But again, with this, there's no reason, as long as the consistency's there, there's no reason why Manic isn't up there, the pod isn't up there, and the bookings are not.
That's the plan. That's the plan, mate. Like,
but yeah, it's
But yeah, nice one for coming on again. Yes,
so,
yes, Diego.
Patreon, you get all your stuff at Brad _refresh at It's Time to Refresh. On all the
what a host.
It's on YouTube, Spotify, and
it's on everything, mate.
It's on everything. Episode number 75. Big thanks to Diego. It's his birthday today. He's 1 today, so happy birthday, Diego. Woof, woof. Thank you. Big shout to Brad. I feel it was one of the more interesting pods, in the sense that we've listened to him talk for 74 pods now without really knowing a lot. Now we know a lot of the story, where things are up to now. So again, thank you very much, brother.
Nice. There we go.
And peace out, yeah.
See you later.